Hello everyone, my name is Loco, and welcome to a best of 3 series of top level StarCraft 2. What I've got for you today is a Zerg versus Protoss, an absolute fan favorite matchup. As in the top left hand corner, playing with the red Protoss pieces, we're looking inside of the main base of MaxPax. And down in the bottom right, playing in blue, playing with Zerg, we have Rogue. Not Rouge, not... I see this a lot in the comment section or in like Twitch chat or... If I was named Rogue, that would bother me a little bit. Yeah. But I guess the spelling of the word Rogue is a little bit weird. Maybe we can mix up the name to like Assassin or Scoundrel. I don't know. What is a good synonym for the word Rogue? Anyways, MaxPax starting the game off with a cheeky little hatchery block. Rogue, or Rouge, forced to take his third base as his very first expansion. Not that big of a deal though, as... obviously, Zerg players at this level are very comfortable with it, but I still think it's a good play. I've said this many times before, but I think if you're a ladder hero, blocking your opponent's natural expansion as Protoss is an absolute no-brainer. Even though the pro players are very good at, well, maneuvering from this spot, basically you just start off the game and you set the probe right at the very beginning. That's the build, right? This is basically it. You just continue as normal, but blocking your opponent's natural expansion, it throws them way off. All the way up until Grandmaster League or so, where at some point it's probably suboptimal to continuously do it, but you can see that MaxPax is still making it work. And obviously, well, Rogue is a world-class Zerg. Previous world champion of StarCraft 2. He knows how to deal with this, and there are a couple of different advantages to it as well, right? So the big advantage here for Rogue is the fact that he can start spreading creep from right over here instead of right over here. Right? It doesn't look like that big of a difference, but it does add up over the course of the game. Now, obviously, you don't necessarily want to go straight to the creep spreading, but there are little bits and pieces that Zerg don't entirely dislike about it. The very annoying part, though, here for Rogue is that he's not going to have Zergling speed done in time to deal with the very first Adept. Yeah. So MaxPax patrolling this little bit of space over here is going to be super annoying for Rogue. Just hovering around this area, he's going to be able to get a free pass until Zergling speed is done, which is still going to be a little while, and that's going to force Rogue to then re-rally to the main base, and then the main base is going to be oversaturated. It gets a little bit frustrating sometimes. All right, Adepto goes across the map, and the follow-up here for Max is a good old Stargate. No surprise there. I'm actually curious to see what Rogue does in the late game these days against Protoss. So for a little while, he wasn't really playing late game, and I don't know if he is right now, but... lately, at least against Terran, he has been loving going for the... oh, for some reason, we're rallying the Adept in this direction. It's a little bit odd. Anyways, against Terran, he's been having a grand old time with the Mass Overseer style. I don't think you can really do that against Protoss as nicely, but it would be fun to see him experiment with a little bit of that as well. All right, the Adepts are joining forces, but it's not going to happen. And ultimately, yep, we have drones moving in between again. Rogue has given them the go-ahead that it is indeed safe. Now, it is important, of course, nice snipe on the creep tumor, that the Adepts get home, yep, before Link Speed can fully surround them. I'm expecting a third Nexus here in a moment for Protoss, and it looks like we are indeed headed in that direction right now. Oracle will likely have to stay at home for a little bit, though. Yeah, the Adepts have been spotted. Nexus starts up. Not enough links here to kill that in time, so I think this is okay for MaxPax. Navigating this nicely, despite the fact that things are a bit messy, but of course in a way here, Rogue is defending the Oracle by having a bunch of links out on the map, right? He much prefers having those Zerglings out on the map than having the Oracle in his mineral line. Now, speaking of the mineral line, ooh, this is pretty good. 2 drones here. 3 drones is great. 2 drones is acceptable. Okay, since the Oracle joined in, we get 4 drones going down. And then a bunch of links as well to boot. Main problem, of course, is that now maybe the third Nexus is wide open. But with the pylon done, I think he can warp in a couple of units there as reinforcement, or at least keep the Oracles reasonably close to home. MaxPax should be okay. Nice movement here as well, right? With the probe. So passes through with the probe, warps in the Zealot, or the Adept rather. Right at the perfect spot. It's those little plays that I always really like from MaxPax. On the back of this, though, Twilight Council together with +1. I'm assuming it's going to be Blink. Yes, it is. Stock standard Protoss gameplay. Rogue, in the meantime, starts up the +1 melee research. Not super fast. Opting to go for a Roach Warren as well before the lair. We have a 4th hatchery already building up. Usually with the +1 melee, we see it a little bit before this point. Because now, by the time that Blink Stalkers are out on the map, there are still not going to be enough Zerglings with +1 available. About 525 right now on the lair. Bit later than you ideally look for here as the Zerg. Normal timing is maybe like a half minute or so sooner. Kind of depends on the setup, but this is okay. But it's not really setting him up for a lot of aggression, right? Like any sort of timing attack right now for Rogue is just not really going to be viable anymore. Now, MaxPax doesn't know that. And sometimes Rogue still pulls these sort of things off anyways. But I think off of this particular early game, there's not really that much that, yeah, you can really do here as a Zerg anyways. Look at MaxPax just cruising. This game is on rails for him for the time being, at least. We're going into a Twilight Council, now into a Robo, and then a Templar Archive. So Blink is not yet done. This is what MaxPax does every time. It's a little sketchy. He moves out before Blink and before +1 are actually finished. Many Protoss players are a little worried to do this sort of move. Because obviously if you now get surrounded, you can't go and blink away. But already the Zergling panic production has kicked in. A bunch of creep tumors have gone down. Yeah. I like the move out, but I am a little bit conflicted. And you can tell here why many Protoss players don't necessarily want to go for the push before Blink is actually finished. In the meantime, Infestation Pit. Even though the lair was a little slow, this one is fast. Stalkers still continue onwards. There's not a lot of Oracle energy available. They've been using up their energy for stasis wards, and I wonder if maybe we need to recall. Do we have enough? Yeah. Yeah. +1 melee is done now. How many Stalkers died? Just 3. Acceptable. Good surround, though, by Rogue. It's important not just get the Protoss player here to do everything they like. It's the first time he seems to strike back. He immediately celebrates now with a quick Hive. No Hydra then. No Roach speed. It's just pure Zergling, actually. We do have Banelings, but no Baneling speed as far as I know. Yeah, I'm a little curious here what Rogue's plan is. Are we gonna go... Is this Ultras? Is that what we're doing? I guess it's the only thing that makes sense, but the +1 Carapace research is now pretty late, right? We're 7, nearly 8 minutes in. Hive is halfway finished. +1 Carapace only just now has started up. MaxPax's 4th, though, is also not super fast. Because of the Stalker situation, he decided to delay it a little bit and lean into the Storm, the Charge, and then the +2 attack here instead. Ultimately, I think this army here for MaxPax is going to be really quite strong. Ooh. Overlord speed as well. Nematized Carapace coming up for Rogue. It's interesting. Like, it could either be like a big aggressive push with, well, Zerg drops and all the rest of it, or he's just playing this for the long game. But for the long game, it kind of feels a little early. Especially considering he has not yet made the investment into Baneling speed. Baneling speed here should definitely take priority. Either way, we're going Ultra Cavern now. And the Zealot is done in time. Ooh, Transfusion on a drone there. Spinecrawler was done in time as well. This is mostly just MaxPax here testing the waters, who's now going straight into a fleet beacon. So we do have Zergling drops, by the way. Wait, are we carpet bombing? Is that the plan, Rogue? Are we landing? Wait, doesn't he realize he doesn't have Baneling speed? Oh, he realizes it now for sure. He's droning on the back of this, though. Are we loading the Banes into the Overlords, or are we going to bring the Queens in? Experimental territory right here for the Zerg. Whereas MaxPax is doing the most conventional thing known to man. Baneling speed, by the way, has now started up. It must have been a mistake. Looks like we did have a little bit of a skirmish over there, too. Ooh, I love those Archons, though. Those Archons are so nice here to have. Immortal production. Not really that useful, but still good to add a few of those in the mix. Honestly, he's dealing more damage with his own storms here than the entirety of the Zerg army has been. Up until this point. Mama already coming, though. Not even 10 minutes of in-game time. Couple of zealots slicing away at whatever they can hit. More Overlord drops coming in. So wait, against Terran in the late game, we go Mass Overseer. Against Protoss in the late game, we go Mass Overlord drops. When life gives you Overlords, upgrade them. In whatever way. In whatever way it takes. Ultra coming up. I'm a little bit concerned about the Ultras. Even though the Immortals haven't really had great targets to kill thus far, obviously they're going to be phenomenal against the Ultralisks. 7 OVs making a little run for it towards the natural expansion. These are not fully upgraded, but they have +2 melee. They do have Adrenal Glands. Instant warp in right here, though. We have some shield batteries set up, too. Archon in a good spot. Excellent defense here, honestly, by the Protoss. Barely losing anything. Woo. And I wonder how Rogue is feeling about this game so far. Like, it's not like he's playing badly. A couple of Baneless do roll in, so finally getting some damage done. He is up to 96 workers, which is the opposite of nice, but it's still pretty good. He's going Ultras. He does have Chitinous. Only +1 armor, though. I wouldn't mind seeing the... I don't know. This feels like a weird game to me here for the Zerg. Like, practically everything in this match has gone well so far for MaxPax. And while objectively the worker count here is good of Zerg, right? We have a pretty good amount of tech. Creep spread is not looking too shabby. It just feels like everything he's doing so far isn't really working out to his favor. Double Nidus Worm. Okay. Double Nidus Worm against Protoss. Sure, bring it on. Now, it does feel to me that MaxPax is a little bit confused about what he should be doing next. It's like he's trying to compute. Okay, what do we do here? How do we proceed? MaxPax obviously a very mechanical player in general, so he always seems to have if A, then B, right? Like, that's the type of approach that he has. It's not very flexible. And I wonder if this is a situation that is well-suited for Zerg against MaxPax specifically. Now, the Ultralisk drops are going in, man. How good are Ultra drops? Yeah, pretty darn good. Ultras do get countered hard here by the main bulk of the Protoss army, but as long as the Immortals are not nearby, the Ultras can actually just kind of tear everything apart. Here come the Banelings, though. A Hatchery did die as well. Stasis Ward is really good. And this is where those Immortals are, so yeah, you can see the Ultras immediately pop. 21 probes have died, 8 drones. No detection available for Max, though, so he's kind of in a weird spot. We did have a few Zealots harassing the right side of the map, too. Ultralisk drops. Is this what you're supposed to do as a Zerg? This upper base, by the way, here from MaxPax, the one up on the high ground. Okay, Rogue has seen it, but it's a little bit of an oddball. Usually, this is not the base that you take. Usually, Protoss will opt to go for this one instead. But I guess with a mobile army like this for Rogue, he's a little bit concerned. Now, in a straight-up engagement, there's no denying that MaxPax would absolutely tear Rogue's army apart. It wouldn't even be close. But every time he moves in, Rogue also goes in for the counterattack. Be it the Ling run-bys, be it the Ultralisk drops. But he's not really giving him a fair, straight-up fight. Yep, yet again, look, Protoss moves onto creep. Oh, maybe he's setting this up for the surround this time around. You know what? That is what he's doing. Preemptive storm. Do we have another storm available? We do have a stasis ward. So many Ultralisks, though, and they do get all surface area. And as we all know, when Ultras actually fight, they deal a ridiculous amount of damage, Immortals or not. Usually getting to the fight is the main issue that they struggle with. And that was just about the best fight Rogue could hope for. Ultras are such a conflicting unit, right? Like, when they work really well, but most of the time they seem kind of clumsy. I like, by the way, how Rogue has decided, oh yeah, my opponent is going for a mothership. I will do nothing about it. I don't even have anti-air. Ooh, a couple of Zerglings here do finish the job. But this feels really counterintuitive, right? I mean, he's got one Corruptor. Okay, he did build a Spire. On the chance, I guess, that it is a full Skytles transition. But how many folks, myself included 100%, would look at the fleet beacon coming up, would look at the mothership being built, and then realize, I don't need anti-air. Right? Like, that feels weird. Why would you not? We have a very brave Corruptor, it has to be said. But more Ultras are available right now. Stasis Ward, Stasis Ward! I mean, the Zerglings and the Ultras, they are still plowing through. Ultras, of course, do have that, that passive that basically makes them immune to any form of crowd control. And despite the fact that this is not really that great, there's no anti-air available other than the one Corruptor, but the Ultras are just destroying everything. Planetary fortresses would be sweet, but they're not available for Protoss. Oracles are oddly enough the main counter, it seems. Together with the mothership itself, to the Ultralisks. Only +2 armor, by the way, still here for Rogue. But that was expensive. Fascinatingly enough, the amount of losses here, it's only like 3,000, a little bit less, like 2.8k minerals less, and significantly more gas lost on the side of the Protoss. These resources lost are not really what you would expect them to be. The transition now from Rogue, because he knows that this is going to trigger full anti-Ultralisk production, right? Is now a Greater Spire. And when you think about it, if this is going to be, well, mass immortal, last time I checked, Immortals are kind of terrible at fighting Brute Lords. Rogue still at 85 drones as well. Man, this is Rogue in a nutshell. Maybe MaxPax is very mechanical, right? Like, very methodical with the way that he approaches. As in, like, if A, then I respond with B. Rogue is the exact opposite. Rogue is doing his Zerg yoga every morning. About the most flexible Zerg player out there. And while normally his early game looks remarkably, quote-unquote, standard, he is capable of transitioning really quickly. And I feel like that's something that Korean Zerg players have always been really good at. Think of, for example, Dark. He never really seems to sit with his thoughts for too long. He immediately reacts. And more often than not, he makes the right choice. But yeah, similarly right here, Rogue is doing it too. I don't know if this really was an intended plan, though, because the fact that he forgot Baneling speed had me very worried. But he decided to just go for the counterattacks instead. Okay. MaxPax decides to now sit here for a little while. Problem is, he's on, well, technically 4 bases, but the main is out, the natural's pretty much dried up. 3rd base is almost empty. 4th base also doesn't have a lot remaining. So yes, we have 69 workers. Some people would say that's pretty nice. But I think only like 40 of them or so are, maybe less. Like maybe 2/3 or so of them are mining somewhat efficiently. The rest is kind of, yeah, a little bit of a waste. So I think Rogue can indeed slow this game down all he likes. His main goal right now is to almost like create a soft contain on the Protoss. This high ground base has been taken care of by a creep tumor. Oh, look at the immortal count now. There's only 3 Ultralisks remaining. 11 Immortals is hardly what you want here. As MaxPax. Zergling run by yet again, at least considered. Yeah, would be kind of nice to have, but considering the links here, the Protoss always has to be worried and leave units behind. Rogue has got tabs on all of the future potential expansions that Protoss can go for. And as long as he doesn't see any of them, he's gonna sit and wait. I think what you do, I mean, he is going to go for a little bit of an attack. This seems a bit risky to me. I think what you do is you try to basically sacrifice this army and then instantly remax, right? Like basically try to have your opponent fight 2 maxed out armies instead. Now, 1 hatchery does die. 1 Nexus does die as well. And obviously at this point, vastly beneficial here for the Zerg. Maybe the Nexus will live. No, it doesn't look like it. An eye for an eye only is fair when you only have 2 eyes. But it turns out MaxPax has 4 eyes and Rogue has like 9. It's about the percentage of eyes. Maybe we can update that one verse. The percentage of eyes lost needs to be identical. Because at this point, Rogue can very easily give away an expansion. MaxPax, well, he's pretty much broke. The creep is everywhere. The Brute Lords are difficult to counter. MaxPax now taking a page, though, out of the book of the Protoss, or out of the Terran, rather, where he's no longer remaking workers. Terrans usually do this because they have mules if they need to. Right, they will have infinite orbital commands in the late game, so they can just scan and drop mules, whatever they like. But they get this massive army going of like 180 or so bio, right? Like that's really, really good. If you can get 180 supply worth of Protoss army here as well, that would work out nicely. MaxPax on 37 probes. Interestingly enough, he can't even efficiently mine that number at the moment. Effectively, what Max is going for is one final hurrah. One final army that he can hopefully roll over his opponent with. Now, if you look at the current army values, this is a very powerful Protoss army, right? Like, look at the 7,700 minerals, 5,800 gas. That is a ton. Rogue, though, has this as his army, plus, hopefully for him, yeah, 58 larvae, and then, well, about 10,000 resources worth of remaxing. What do you remax with, though? It's easy to think that you want to remax here with... are you? No, we're not committing, right? With Ultralisks? Oh my god, we are committing? Oh, yo. Is this really the play? I guess it doesn't matter. The Brute Lords are fighting. The Tempest numbers, though. Yeah, they're decently high enough. I can't say I love that fight here for Rogue, but I also don't know if it really matters. So he's remaxing with Ultralisk Corruptor. A weird way to remax. He also attacked right before +3 carapace was done. But I guess his idea is that he wants to fight on the edge of the creep, so that by the time that MaxPax could even get remotely close to the actual important bases, right? To like the heart of the Zerg, he would already have the reinforced Ultralisks out. They do take a long time to produce. Yeah, and now suddenly, we can look at the army size graph, right? And this will show it perfectly. That was a pretty terrible fight for Rogue, but it doesn't matter, because he can recuperate real quick. MaxPax does not have that luxury. Yeah, expertly played here by Rogue. We're going again. Honestly, this seems like such a weird place to fight, but he does not care. The Ultras are going in. Immortal count is still reasonably high, but it doesn't matter. It's our Zerg player who wins game number 1. Already, game number 2. We find ourselves on the Celestial Enclave. An absolute crowd pleaser of a map. And usually, very macro-focused as well. Other than the games that we've seen lately where Zergs go for proxy hatcheries and all the rest of it. Now this right over here is a little bit odd. I don't even know if I've ever seen a Zerg player take the in-base expansion first. MaxPax will be very happy about the fact that the in-base expansion is taken first, because this is a base that only has 5 mineral fields, rather than the conventional 8, and only a single gas. Maybe it doesn't matter as long as your third base is fast enough, and I guess that's what MaxPax is thinking of right now too, so he'll be pretty happy about it all, because this is basically a clear indication that if he can delay this third base in any way, shape, or form at all, it's going to be amazing for him. But also that this is pretty much always going to be something macro-focused here from the Zerg, at least in the earlier stages of the game. At least you're not going to have to deal with some sort of, you know, silly all-in here from the Zerg really early on, because I don't think you can really afford it. Unless Rogue has got something very specialized, but I doubt it. Difficult map in general to attack on, because of the fact that there's a little ramp that leads up over here. We do see a lot of mid-game attacks that go through these rocks, but the rocks have a lot of HP, and you can't really get through those early on, so... yeah, safe assumption here that Zerg is going to be chilling. That MaxPax can do whatever MaxPax does best, and usually that involves being as annoying as possible. Be it with Adepts, be it with, in this particular instance, Oracles, I would imagine. Could even go for a Void Ray. I wouldn't mind seeing a Void Ray first. Seems to be pretty common on this map. But it's also a clear indication that if MaxPax wanted to go and mix it up a little bit, he could go for the in-base expansion really early on himself, maybe go into a quick fleet beacon, We've been seeing that from, for example, the likes of SOS. Man, I really like those SOS builds, but sadly the overall mechanics don't really seem to line up nearly as nicely anymore as they once used to. I don't know if it's because the overall skill level has gotten better, or maybe because SOS is still a little bit rusty from time to time. I don't really expect that, though, from MaxPax. MaxPax is not really somebody that goes for the crazy builds, especially not when he's 1-0 behind in a series. Oh, he's gonna celebrate? So this is MaxPax being ballsy, okay? This is MaxPax doing crazy stuff. He's gonna take a 3.5-minute third Nexus, and he's gonna build it in the most exposed location. Because the norm would be to take the in-base expansion as his very first, or as his very third base, as his second expo. But since he knows that Rogue knows, he may as well take the full base over here and take it like a full half-minute earlier. It's a bit greedy. He's doing this off of just one gateway, now adding on another. He's doing this off of just 2 gateway units, not going for the third. So it's greedy, but at this point it's already too late for Rogue to do anything about it. And it definitely means that any kills right now on the Oracles, as long as he doesn't lose them, are going to be phenomenal. Any kill here is good. Literally anything. Protoss is gonna be booming here, economically speaking, regardless of what Rogue does. You can see it reflected already in the work account now. MaxPax not even getting up to the chrono boost of the third Nexus yet, but already leading the work account. Difficult to do against Zerk in particular. Okay. Oh, still no Spore Crawler over here. It's one of those things where sometimes you feel like you can get away without a Spore Crawler, but then sometimes you still have to make a Spore Crawler later on. It's a mess. Rogue has now seen the third over on the other side, so he knows what he's playing against. It's a Twilight Council and a Forge. What? No way. Say it ain't so. Oh. MaxPax is bullying. Look away, Zerks. Absolute perfection here so far for Max. I don't think he can really complain about anything. Gets an extra Overlord here as well to boot. Can he delay his base another time? He would have if the drone committed. Yeah, you cannot really hope for a better start than this as a Protoss player. We do have to oh, okay, sure. I was gonna say we need to fire up the +1 upgrade, Max. Jeez. Sorry, I didn't even start my sentence yet. He started it up early enough. That's good. Now, what can Rogue do to really get back into this? Even though not much has happened yet from him, he's already in kind of a difficult spot. +1 melee now, too late to really deal with the Stalkers. Obviously, he can always go into like something a little bit more risky. He can try to play catch-up. That's another option. But I wouldn't mind seeing like a Spire or something going down in this instance. I think that would be fun. You kind of need something. Nice micro here again by Max, honestly. So he pushed again before Blink is done, just like he did in the previous game. Just like he did in the previous game, he lost 3 Stalkers again, but now he got way more links for his troubles. It's a Hydra then, okay. Rogue maybe wants to go Hydraling Bane, something along those lines. It is good, but it's also very ordinary. I think by the time the Hydraling Bane army can really move, Storm is likely going to be finished. Although it's going to be close. Now the real Stalker aggression goes up, though. And how much damage can we do with it? How many units is Rogue going to produce? Obviously, one of the reasons here for Protoss to attack is to make sure that Zerk does not drone up the 4th. And if you look at the worker count, it's already pretty darn good here for Max. Leading the worker count here as Protoss is, well, perfect. That's exactly what you're looking for. Gets a nice little juicy stasis ward too. Now we're fishing for some lucky hits. Nope. Yeah, and this is really, for all intents and purposes, the perfect Protoss game so far. Like, you can't obviously really get an absolute perfect game. It's not gonna happen, but there's too many moving parts in a game of StarCraft 2 to really, but like strategically, execution-wise, all of this is going exactly according to plan. And Rogue needs to do something about it fast, because if he doesn't, he's gonna be in a world of trouble. Zealots here clean up just fine. Stalkers in the meantime are fighting at the front lines. Oh. It's one of those setups, right? Where if MaxPax would have committed to like an all-in, I think it would have been game over already. MaxPax, though, taking the very conservative approach. And this might be the first time, actually, that Rogue strikes back. Getting this, getting this Nexus in the bottom right would be good. But charge is finished. The Stalker aggression still continues. Stasis ward yet again. Ooh, starting to get nerd chills here. Okay. So the original plan was to get Storm done by the time that the Hydra push could go across. I don't think, I mean, it's long done at this point. I don't think the Hydra push can really go across the map anymore. Here's the Zealot run by. Perfect timing. Hatchery kill. No cancel. 9 probes, though, did go down. I missed it. And it looks like... Let me actually back up a little bit. MaxPax did as well. Ah, okay. It's a much more committed roly-poly push. Did he get the Templar too? No. 9 probes is pretty darn good, but it was about, I don't know, like 9 banelings as well. Banelings are 50 minerals and 25 gas each. The probes are, of course, 50 minerals each, so... In just a pure resource lost count, it's not the end of the world there for Max. He also has 4 Nexi up, so you can easily rebuild this. I love that he's keeping the pressure on, though. He knows that he does not want to give this Zerg too much wiggle room. Rogue will cut corners if he needs to and get a lot of value. Still, it's easy to overcommit, and yeah, the first 8.5 minutes or so of this game were pretty much perfect. Now things are starting to look a little bit more dicey. Never count the Korean Zergs out. They are dangerous. Rogue is reading the situation well, not opting to go for a quick hive or anything along those lines at this point anymore. I mean, he could go into a hive on lurkers, but I think it's going to be too late. Instead, I think like an all-out push with Hydraling Bane could be really powerful. Maybe line it up with like the +2 missile finishing up or something along those lines. You do auto-lose against any sort of like Colossus transition. Yeah, those are the risks that you take. Because I don't think you can really play a middle-of-the-road approach anymore here as Rogue. But he still has a lot of supply. He has a good bit of army. MaxPax actually needs to be careful that he doesn't overproduce workers. Like, he's up to 83 now. So he's made like 50 more... Okay, maybe not. He's made like 30 more probes here than the Zerg has in total. Which is a lot. Fleet Beacon, Safety Mothership would be really good. But this is where the Protoss army is going to have to be microed correctly. Hydraling Bane is always sketchy. There's a lot of Templar available, though. Decent first storm. Good enough. Archons will stand in those storms if they need to. High Templar are a bit exposed. There's not really that many Protoss units available here for Max, though. Ay, ay, ay. Don't tell me Rogue actually gets this job done. Rogue is such a dangerous man. 13 probes are dying. He did go for the classic counterattack that MaxPax does every single time, but he's losing way more probes in the meantime. Now, there are an insane amount of gateways out. 10 gateways available at this point, so that's good. At least for Protoss. Hatchery lives on the other side of the map. I wonder if that Zealot Warpin that he did on the other side should have been over here instead, because this is about the best way in which Rogue could have struck back. Keep in mind, though, that there's no follow-up, right? Great storm. But there's no follow-up for Rogue. There's no hive. There's no lurker den. There's no nothing. So it's going to be more of this. Oh, I really love the... Oh, the ring of missile turrets. These are missile turrets now. For the Zerg, the Spore Crawler's in position. In the first game, we didn't have a counter to the Mothership either until the late game. Rogue is gonna have to deal with the Mothership this time around, I think, using just Ultralisks. So if MaxPax can max, if he can be the MaxPax, it's still gonna work, but... Forced to rebuild that base now. You can see that you can definitely not count Rogue out. He's a dangerous man. Ooh. 6 probes just like that. Maybe MaxPax now regretting that he didn't go for some silly 3-base all-in. It was a very viable choice. It's what we see all the time from other Protoss players. He wanted to play it as conservatively as possible. And sometimes it is something that happens to his own destruction, right? Where, yeah, he just kind of hopes that the game keeps going and flowing as nicely as it has been, but it's not a bad idea to, at the very least occasionally, just try to go for the all-out attack. Try to get the job done. Now, there's no counter for the mothership at all. Other than Hydras, but Hydras technically don't counter the mothership very well. I think as long as MaxPax sits here and just tries to max, he is really gonna be hard to beat. His army is just gonna be much higher tech. But you never know, right? This is also the point in the game where Protoss tends to get a little bit antsy, where you kind of know the fights haven't been going your way, and you've lost a lot of eco. You're always afraid of Zerg suddenly making 20 drones at one time, and you accidentally playing against a way bigger Zerg economy than what you thought you were playing against. Oh, he goes carriers? We have 1 Stargate carriers? Okay. Pocket expansion as well. MaxPax settling in for another long game. Rogue is going in for another push, though. Getting deja vu to the previous fight. This time around, though, Mama's here for a time warp, cloaking field, and we've got some really nice storms. Woo! That was like 50 supply down the drain before the fight even started. Still, though, the Zerg economy here is decent enough to keep this going for a while. Immortals and Archons, though, on the perimeter of the cloak, and I think, yeah, this was good. This was really nice for Max. That's just the strength of Mama. Your Mama is so big, she can cloak an entire army. For Protoss, that's a compliment. Your Mama's so big, it takes 2 motherships to recall her mass. Nah, I don't know. That one. Anyways. Rogue's still not going Hive, by the way. Like, we're still just doubling down on this mid-game aggression. I'm a little afraid that it's fizzling out. We do get the Dropper Lords, yet again. Where do we take this game from here? We can drop Hydras and Lynx. Not nearly as exciting as Ultra drops, though. Yeah, MX is chilling. He's just trickling in more and more units. It's a pretty passive game now after being very out on the map for like the first 10 minutes, but at this point I think it's better for him to just sit here. He must have recognized that this is a lair tech all-in with basically no intention of following it up at all. Do people get offended, by the way, for Yo Mama jokes? I mean, it's 2026, right? Do we get offended by that? Yeah, we kind of got offended over everything for a while. Ooh, close storm! Get out of here, Zerg! Ugh. Time warp to try and trick the overlords. Okay, sure. In the meantime, though, there is a second push as well in the far bottom right. And I think Rogue ultimately realizes that he got very close, given the circumstances. It was about the best case scenario for him, but it was just barely not good enough. GG. And that means it all comes down to this. Final game in this best of 3 series. It takes place on good old Tato Citadel, another macro map. Not too shabby. Early game performance is everything. But despite the fact that MaxPax did have a really strong start in that previous game, it still got remarkably close. So, what do we do differently this time? The problem is, of course, that you're always dealing with incomplete information. You try to make the best of it. You try to scout the opponent, see what they're up to. Rogue used to go for a lot more early game aggression, by the way, right? Even against Protoss. It looks like, at the very least in the last few games that I've seen him play, the last few series I've seen him play against Protoss, he doesn't really opt for that so much. He has been hatchery rushing Terrans for some reason. Proxy hatching Terrans in the natural expansion. It feels kind of wrong, but he's been making it work. First unit goes in. Doesn't achieve much. Just to check everything is normal. Obviously, you're going to need multiple adepts anyways to be able to one-shot these units. Are we going to go 3.5-minute third Nexus again? He goes Twilight Council, interestingly enough, now, before the Nexus. But this is fast. Both the Twilight Council as well as the third Nexus here are really early. So we have one Adept, one Oracle, and then one Stalker. That's it. Normally you go for like 3 Gateway units and a second Gateway before planting the third. Obviously, this leaves you very vulnerable, right? Like, imagine right now if 20 Links are out on the map. Rogue is making a few Links here, but just enough to basically deal with 2 Adepts shading around his bases. He's got to check, and he will see, I think, that there is indeed a very quick third Nexus, but there's not a whole lot he can do about it. Interesting follow-up, though. So it's a very fast Twilight Council as well for Max. And I wonder if Rogue is going to expect that that is even an option. Because when you see your opponent cutting corners with the timing of the third Nexus, like, he's going to be able to notice here by the progression of the Nexus that, yeah, it's a fast one. Do you then also assume it's simultaneously a really fast tech addition? Probably not. +1 melee is not going to be done in time. We need a Roach Warren. Oh, he goes double Evo? Okay, he did make a Roach Warren too. Wait, no, never mind. Oh, I thought for a second this was another Evolution Chamber. My bad. I don't know how I got confused there. Double Evo Chamber would be crazy at this point in time. I think he would actually be straight up dead. MaxPax sees it though, and he now notices, okay, there is a Roach Warren, so at least the potential for Roaches is there. 4 gates in total, so not an all-in for Max. But it's still something that can deal a lot of damage. Rogue is set up though to make this a wall off. That's why he killed the Creep Tumor over here, just so he can quickly wall himself in. Taking a page out of the Protoss versus Protoss playbook. Sero has been doing this for years. I feel like only recently other Protoss players, or other Zerg players rather, have been using that as a method to deal with Protoss. So how many Adepts is it? It's only 10. It's really not that many. But they can tear a mineral line apart. +1 melee is not finished. Okay, we're doing an evacuation. Oh, you're the door. All right. I mean, that's kind of cute. The Adepts, though, gonna try their best to still get in. Ah. I don't know why we sent them out already again. I guess he wasn't worried. It's a cute way of making the wall off, right? It's interesting how we don't really see that. Suddenly, though, I wonder if the drone return was just a little too quick. Yeah, so the idea is to uproot and unroot the, or uproot and root, rather, the Spore Crawler to basically create space to get units in and out. 6 drones is still really nice, though, here for Max. Even though this hasn't really been too successful, you can see it reflected already in the worker count. Now, Rogue is retaliating with what looks like an all-in. At least it's something that can be turned into an all-in. Because he does have Overlord speed, right? Yeah, he did make Nemetized Carapace. The Overlords are gonna march. I think the ladies are gonna pop into their private jets. We have a Dropper-Lord somewhere. Oh no! Wait, did he miss it? He made one already, but he probably can't find it. Oh, this is delaying him massively. He did make a Dropper-Lord, but it's off. Apparently, maybe it's getting bullied because it's different than the others. Just like in real life. Okay, anyways. Yeah, we are apparently... Ooh. If you all army hotkey, Overlords are not included, neither are Queens, so he couldn't find it. Still, MaxPax believes that he can do the defense with a 4th base? Honestly, he doesn't need it. The Queens, though, are being targeted. Oh, no. The private jet went down. Brenda, though, parachuted out just barely in the nick of time. Well, She's going to be met by lasers. Not going to be good enough either. And just like that, I can't believe MaxPax actually holds on to this all-in from the Zerg with 4 bases. Like, this is a Zerg on, like, 40 workers max, right? Like, that is not a whole lot. MaxPax, though, manages to hold on with double upgrades going up, a 4th Nexus building, and then basically just really good control. Certainly a little riskier than it needs to be. I don't think he really needed the 4th. Maybe he was prepared as well to fall up to the high ground and, you know, maybe defend from that location instead. Because even if you're on 3 bases, you are very far ahead. But ultimately, MaxPax's early game yet again shines true. And I think you can really see the strength here, right? Of that super fast 3rd Nexus. The really fast Twilight Council. So again, the normal time is about 350 or so on the Nexus. Shaving 20 seconds off of that. Taking a little bit of a risk. At the, I mean, if Zerg makes a lot of links early on, you're basically dead. If you see a bunch of links running across the map, the 3rd Nexus is going to be delayed even more because it's going to have to be cancelled. It gets very messy, but when you can cut the corner, if you play normal often enough, when you can cut the corner, then suddenly cutting the corner is wildly efficient. GG.